Life is full of unpredictable moments that crash into our routines, changing our understanding of the world. For the paramedics of Pine Valley Emergency Services, such a moment arrived on an otherwise ordinary autumn morning. A call about a fallen elderly woman seemed routine, but their journey to assist her would take an unexpected turn. That morning, they would encounter a situation that defied nature and all their years of training. A moment when the wild broke its own rules to communicate with humans. Driving up a fog-shrouded mountain road, Sarah, the senior paramedic, reviewed the dispatch details while her partner Mike focused on the sharp turns. The dense mist clung to the ground, making visibility difficult. As their ambulance hummed steadily along the winding road, the towering pines on either side loomed like sentinels guarding a secret. The air was quiet, almost too quiet, until a shadow darted across their headlights. The figure that emerged from the fog froze them in place, a massive black bear, standing squarely in the middle of the road. Mike instinctively braked, while Sarah reached for the radio to report the hazard. But then they noticed something unusual. The bear didn't run or growl. Instead, it stood still, swaying slightly as though in distress. Its eyes reflected something far beyond fear, intelligence, and a desperate urgency. The bear's behavior defied everything they knew about wildlife. Instead of retreating into the forest, it moved closer to the ambulance, raising a paw in what appeared to be a deliberate gesture. Sarah and Mike sat frozen, unsure how to react. The bear's actions weren't aggressive. They were calculated and almost pleading. It even pressed its paw against the ambulance window, leaving a misty imprint, and took cautious steps toward the edge of the woods, glancing back repeatedly, as if asking them to follow. Every protocol screamed against leaving the vehicle or engaging with the bear. Yet, Sarah's instincts told her this was different. The bear's pacing and soft grunts carried an urgency they couldn't ignore. After years of working in these mountains, she had learned to trust the unexplainable, and this was one of those times. Grabbing their medical bags, she and Mike made the unprecedented decision to follow the bear into the forest. The bear led them along a narrow trail, its massive form gliding through the trees with surprising grace. The deeper they went, the more urgent the bear's movements became. Occasionally, it would pause to look back, ensuring they were still following. The forest was eerily silent, with no birds or animals stirring, as though nature itself held its breath. After nearly 20 minutes, the trail opened into a clearing where the bear stopped abruptly. In the center of the clearing lay a heartbreaking scene. Beneath a fallen tree, 3 cubs were sprawled in a shallow depression. 2 were lifeless, their small bodies still. The third was barely alive, its tiny chest rising and falling in shallow gasps. Surrounding them were signs of human carelessness, discarded trash, including antifreeze containers. The bear's distress suddenly made sense. She had brought them here to save her surviving cub, risking her own safety to seek their help. The mother bear's actions were astonishing. She stepped back, giving the paramedic space to work, as though understanding their role. Her eyes reflected grief, so profound it transcended species. Sarah and Mike's training took over as they assessed the surviving cub. Its injuries were severe, deep cuts on its paws and mouth, and symptoms of poisoning from the antifreeze. They worked quickly, cleaning the wounds and administering fluids, all under the watchful gaze of the grieving mother. The bear's behavior was nothing short of extraordinary. She didn't show aggression, only a quiet desperation. She gently nudged her lifeless cubs with her nose, then turned her focus back to the paramedics, as if pleading for them to save the last one. It was a moment that challenged everything Sarah and Mike had ever believed about the boundary between humans and animals. This wasn't a wild animal acting on instinct. It was a mother who understood loss and hope in ways they could scarcely comprehend. By the time the cub was stabilized, the sun had fully risen, casting light on the surreal scene. Sarah and Mike carefully wrapped the injured cub, preparing to transport it to a wildlife rescue center. The mother bear watched them go, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and sorrow. As they drove away, the weight of what they had just experienced settled in. This encounter wasn't just a rescue. It was a profound reminder of the unspoken connections that can exist between humans and the natural world, a moment they would carry with them forever.